Twitch has never generated a profit, not once in its operational history, not under independent ownership, not under Amazon. The platform generated approximately $1.8 billion in revenue in 2024 and still lost money. This is not a story about mismanagement or a story about bad timing or poor execution. This is a story about a business model that cannot work for reasons that are structural, permanent, and arithmetically verifiable. This video explains why. Twitch operates as a live video delivery platform. This is a critical distinction from every other major media business operating at scale today. Netflix delivers content that already exists. A film uploaded to Netflix's servers is cached, distributed globally across content delivery networks, and served to the next viewer at negligible marginal cost. The 10 millionth subscriber costs Netflix a fraction of what the first subscriber cost. This is how media businesses generate returns at scale. Fixed costs are absorbed once. Every additional unit of consumption approaches zero marginal cost. Twitch does not work this way. Live streaming cannot be cached. It cannot be distributed in advance. Every concurrent viewer requires an independent real-time stream generated and transmitted at the moment of consumption. There is no amortization. There is no fixed cost to spread across a growing audience. The result is that Twitch's infrastructure costs scale linearly with viewership. The marginal cost of the 10 millionth concurrent viewer is identical to the marginal cost of the first. Every new viewer added to the platform adds cost at the same rate. Scale does not help. Scale only makes the problem larger. This inverts the fundamental economics of every other media business ever constructed at scale. In conventional media, growth is the solution. On Twitch, growth is the problem. AWS pricing places the cost of streaming full HD content at approximately 15 cents per viewer per hour at retail rates. At peak concurrent viewership, the infrastructure bill is staggering before a single dollar of revenue is considered. Twitch accesses this infrastructure at Amazon's internal cost, the absolute floor of what that infrastructure could cost any entity on Earth. It remains unprofitable. Amazon is not a company that struggles to make things profitable. Amazon Web Services runs at a 37% operating profit margin. Amazon took a notoriously thin margin retail business and engineered it into the foundation of a multi-hundred billion dollar enterprise. Amazon invented commercial cloud computing. Amazon has applied over a decade of its operational expertise, its infrastructure at cost, and effectively unlimited capital to the problem of making Twitch profitable. In January 2024, Twitch CEO Dan Clancy addressed his platform's community directly. Quote, "I'll be blunt, we aren't profitable at this point. Amazon has been extremely supportive of Twitch, and a big thing for being sustainable over time is ensuring that we do not lose money." End quote. That statement was made after laying off 35% of Twitch's workforce, over 500 employees, following a prior round of 400 layoffs in 2023. If the company that owns the infrastructure cannot make this business work at cost, the infrastructure cost is not the variable to be optimized. It is the verdict. Twitch's revenue operates across two primary mechanisms: advertising and direct viewer support through subscriptions and virtual currency. Dan Clancy has publicly confirmed the split. 2/3 of Twitch's revenue comes from viewers paying directly to support streamers. Advertising accounts for approximately 1/3. On a platform with millions of concurrent viewers, advertising generating 1/3 of revenue is a structural signal, not a temporary shortfall. It reflects a specific and well-understood reality about the Twitch audience. Conventional advertising does not function effectively on this demographic. The advertisers most willing to pay premium CPMs, automotive, financial services, insurance, pharmaceuticals, require an audience that responds to brand messaging. The Twitch demographic does not generate meaningful conversion rates in those categories. Advertisers are not uninformed by this. They have data. They have run campaigns. They have reached conclusions. The CPMs they are willing to pay for Twitch inventory reflects those conclusions accurately. This is not a problem that resolves as the platform matures. The demographic is the product. The demographic does not command premium advertising rates. That is a permanent condition, not a transitional one. The preceding analysis assumes that advertising on Twitch functions as intended. It does not. Advertising a live event, such as sports or a concert, have various rules to make it so that viewers do not throw a riot or switch off their channel. If the Philadelphia Eagles cut to a McDonald's commercial while the ball was in the air, there would not be a city of Philadelphia. Twitch does not operate on this way. There is no set time for when Twitch should run an advertisement. Viewers are very encouraged to circumvent these adverts so that they can get more content, reducing the risk of pivotal moments. The Twitch audience is disproportionately composed of technically literate users who run ad blocking software. The installation barrier for tools such as uBlock Origin is negligible, a single browser extension installation that requires no ongoing maintenance and systemically eliminates ad delivery at the network request level. The ad does not load, the impression does not register, the revenue does not exist. Twitch has invested significant engineering resources in circumventing ad blocking infrastructure for over nearly a decade. Their primary approach, SureStream, has been operational since 2016, a server-side ad insertion system designed to stitch advertising directly into the video stream at the CDN level, making it technically indistinguishable from the content itself. In layman's terms, it means that it's very, very hard to block. The open source community has produced functional countermeasures to each iteration of this system, typically within hours to days of deployment. This is not hyperbole. GitHub repositories dedicated exclusively to defeating Twitch's ad delivery exist, are actively maintained, and are distributed through the same browser extensions already installed on tens of millions of devices. Twitch's response to this arms race has been to increase the load. Between 2023 and 2025, Twitch doubled the number of ad impressions served per streaming hour. The effect on this underlying problem is inverse. Higher ad frequency increases the motivation for audiences to install and maintain blocking rules, accelerating the dynamic rather than resolving it. The Twitch audience has demonstrated through sustained and technically sophisticated collective action that it values the service at $0 and will expend real effort to maintain that valuation. This is not cheapness, it's simply revealed preference. Economists do not evaluate what audiences say they value, they evaluate what behavior demonstrates they value. The behavior is unambiguous. The third structural problem operates independently of the first two. Where revenue does exist, primarily through direct viewer subscriptions, the majority of it exits the platform before Twitch retains any of it. Twitch paid out over $1 billion to streamers in 2023 alone. The standard revenue split for subscriptions is 50-50. Premium partners can negotiate up to 70-30 in the creator's favor. Twitch creates none of the content that generates these subscriptions. It operates as an infrastructure and payment processor for independent creators, retaining a minority share of the revenue that these creators generate. The audience's willingness to pay is real, it is simply directed at specific creators rather than at the platform itself. Twitch is structurally positioned to extract a fraction of that willingness to pay while absorbing the full cost of delivering it. When Twitch attempted to reduce the premium revenue split from 70-30 to 50-50 in 2022, it generated significant creator backlash and accelerated movement of top streamers to competitor platforms such as YouTube Gaming or Kick. The platform is not in the position to renegotiate the creator relationship without undermining the supply of content that draws audiences in the first place. Twitch's unprofitability is the product of three independent structural problems, each of which is individually sufficient to prevent profitability. Their combination is not additive, it is compounding. First, the cost structure is inverted. Live video delivery scales linearly with viewership, generating no economies of scale at any level of growth. The infrastructure cost floor, accessed by Twitch at Amazon's internal rate, exceeds what the audience generates in revenue. Additional viewership makes this problem larger, not smaller. Second, the primary revenue mechanism does not function on this audience. The Twitch demographic commands low advertising cost per miles and has constructed and maintained technical infrastructure to eliminate ad delivery entirely. Even at full ad completion rates, which do not exist in practice, advertising revenue is insufficient to cover infrastructure costs. The audience has priced the service at zero and has demonstrated willingness to work to maintain that price. Third, the revenue that does exist is structurally extracted before the platform retains it. Direct viewer support, the one mechanism through which this audience demonstrates genuine willingness to pay, flows predominantly to individual creators. Twitch retains a minority share while absorbing the full infrastructure cost of delivery. Each of these problems is self-reinforcing. Attempts to increase advertising volume increase audience motivation to block advertising. Attempts to reduce the creator revenue split accelerate creator migration to competitor platforms. Attempts to grow the audience increase infrastructure costs without proportional revenue improvements. Twitch is not a turnaround story. Twitch is not a maturation story. It is not a company that is one strategic pivot away from profitability. It is a business whose cost structures, revenue mechanisms, and audience behavior are in permanent misalignment. The most operationally sophisticated infrastructure company in the world has had over a decade to resolve this misalignment with effectively unlimited resources. The CEO is publicly thanking his company for keeping the lights on. The question of why Twitch has never made a profit has a clean answer. The audience has decided that the server is worth $0. The infrastructure disagrees. Amazon cannot resolve that disagreement. Nobody can. This is what structural failure looks like when it is exposed. Not a bad quarter or a missed forecast. A business model that does not work, has never worked, and will not work, made legible by a decade of evidence in the balance sheets of the world's most capable infrastructure company confirming it. Like, comment, and subscribe for more Art Economist videos. Share with anybody that you know that may be interested in the product. And if you have made it to the end of the video, quick, quiz. Who is the CEO of Twitch? If you paid attention to the video, pay attention. This is the Art Economist signing off, and I'll see you guys next time.